were a creative writing concentrator, two-part question. What was the most valuable piece of writing advice you ever got from a professor at BC?
I had a writing professor who I did a comedy seminar with, this guy Steve Almond, who you know, it was the first time I had ever taken a comedy class, and he gave really good advice that was like, if you can't think of something funny to write about, just think about something that makes you mad. You know, and I don't remember what, I think I wrote some little piece about like how much I hate wine, and people who know a lot about wine, maybe? Was that for that class? I don't remember. But that's not fair to those sommeliers in the audience. But he, you know, I thought that was very good advice too, that it's like, if, you know, the things that, when you're picking something to write about, the things that like get in your craw a little bit, and the things that you are passionate about and that you want to talk about make the best subjects for things. I know on 30 Rock, like, Tina would come in with ideas about, like, I hate how people keep saying, like, New York isn't the real America or whatever. We have to do an episode about the real America. And it would be something that that would just annoy her or whatever. And, you know, and sometimes that makes you know, sometimes those make the best episodes.
Are you ever intimidated by how awesome Tina and Mindy are?
Yeah, I was talking about this with some theater majors earlier, and I feel like, you know, when I first started, and I was 23 when I started at 30 Rock, I was terrified of Tina, and you know, and she's so nice, couldn't be nicer, but I was so intimidated by her because she's so smart and so fast, and you know, I felt like it was to a point where I couldn't talk when she was in the room, and you know, even then when I started getting comfortable talking to her, when I felt like when she was in the room, I was worse at doing my job. Like I pitched worse, and I was like less funny or something because I was so concerned with, like, did she like that? Was that good or whatever? And you know, that kind of thing, I mean, I think it's a thing when you're starting out that's just sort of inevitable, but like that was the biggest hurdle for me, not just around Tina, but my own self-confidence, kind of knowing when, you know, knowing when to be quiet and knowing when, like, no, this is a good idea. You should feel confident saying that. Like, I spent so much time when I was a writer's assistant sitting, taking notes, that I would have an idea, and and in my mind, I would be like, don't say that, that's so bad, that's not funny at all, don't say it. And then someone would say it, and it's like, well, that's kind of similar to that idea, maybe you should say it, or whatever. And then it would go on for 10 minutes, and then I'd say it, and everyone would be like, eh. And then, you know, and then I'd spend the next 20 minutes being like, why did you say that? Like, you just ruined everything you've built. And getting over that hurdle and just kind of feeling like, I'm going to say my ideas confidently. And if people like them and laugh at them, that's great. And if they don't, I just let it go immediately. I mean, that was just like a giant turning point for me in my writing, and made it so much easier to do the job and so much more fun and joyful, you know, to just like not have ego about it and not care if people don't laugh, because often they won't.
Have you tried to write any pilots or selling pilots? Do you think you'd be ready to do that? I
feel like that's the next step for me, and what I want to do is I'd like to write my own show, and you know, that is its own kind of like tricky labyrinth where in a career of a writer, you will try to do, it's called development when you develop your own pilot. You will try to do that like 25 times, and maybe one time it gets on the air or doesn't at all, you know? So I'm kind of nervous about it. I feel like I will either do that this year or the next year, I think. But yeah, if you have any ideas, just put them in a little box. Yeah, you don't get any money or points.